Hey, good morning. This is Vance out of the Seattle area. Good morning. It's Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. Today, there's no change in the sentiment. We've been running with the same thing for a couple of weeks now. The Brexit issue is driving the GU up, and a strong dollar sentiment is still pushing the euro dollar down. There are really no new developments in news stories. Companies are just investors are looking more closely than ever at the specifics, the details, kind of micromanaging, if you will. So as we stay in this period of heightened caution, what this does is when there's an advantage for buyers or sellers, the moves are smaller, often with a little more erratic or bigger pullbacks. Or in the case of the pound dollar, strong moves with no pullbacks. So you really just got to learn to recognize this behavior, because it's really important that you're able to manage your risk. And if you can't see what's going on, it's going to be difficult to manage the risk. So I just got here. I haven't looked at price yet, but let's see what happened. I marked off this level here. This is a 30-minute. Let's see what happened as price came into this level. As you can see, it closed right at the level here, but then you had to close above. And as you can see here, room to get your stop well below this area, and there was room for a total of 21, which I rarely ever target more than 15 on a move like this. After that happens, it pulls back into the range, and then look here. This is not something I would typically do. I would go on the first close above and play this move, because when you get a second here, you're kind of in the previous range. But still, you can see how they got up in here again and took another run. This looks like a move with no pullback here, at least not to 38.2 or more. So still, again, very bullish behavior here once it gets going. Let's see, the euro. We had already come down through here yesterday, and actually right here. Let's just kind of drop down to the 5 and show you that. Let me go back to the 5-minute. Let me zoom out. Let me mouse zoom right here. So where we were looking at this yesterday was right here. And what I was pointing out to you is here's an advance, but as the trend's advancing, it's only a total of 11. And you kind of want to look for, at least as you're mastering the skill, you want to look for a minimum of 18. And the reason for that is, to some extent it's to avoid market noise, but it's more so that you have room to get in and out with good risk to reward ratio, and obviously enough, well, it's not obvious, but enough usable margin, because the smaller your stop loss is, the more usable margin that's required, and therefore there's a limit to how small a stop loss you can trade with, say with 2.5% maximum risk to equity. If you don't understand all this, just real quick, let me pop you over to my book. Just go to forexartofwar.com and click on this yellow area. I'm not actually actively selling anything, so when you click on that, it goes right to the book. And I'll just say that this is probably one of the most valuable Forex trading books that you will ever read. So let you decide for yourself. All right, let me get back to price here. And that's at forexartofwar.com. Just search Vance Williams. Eventually you'll find it. Okay, so moving across, you see another advance right here, probably 2-week also to trade. That one is 10. So let me just let's reset this to 5 so we can see better. We'll zoom out. So just end up with these little choppy moves. This one here looks a little bit stronger as it comes out of here. Right here. How big is that? 20. So yeah. So let's zoom in on this one here. This shows you something. I'm not sure I would like the time of day. Yeah, London had just closed. And let's get our fib adjusted in the right spots here. This is a move of about 20. So this is pretty strong. Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. So as you can see, no pullback here. It comes down here that pulls back to 38.2 or 50 here. And then notice how it's first, the first thing it does is it looks for that area of reconciliation where the buyers and sellers were 50-50 right here. And that's always your optimal target area when you're entering on a pullback. And so knowing that, it gives you an idea of where you need to enter in order to get enough room to have good risk management and hit your target. Again, this is all in my book. So, and then as far as today, I mean, that was pretty much it. Oh, it looks like there was one more move here. How big was that one? That was about 17. So again, a little potential in that one, but it looks like this is happening, you know, pretty late in the Asian session. I just don't trade that, and the reason is very simple. Different people, different values, different ideas, and therefore different behavior. And so pretty much since late Asian session, the euro dollar has just been sideways. And so let's go back out to the 30-minute and see what we're looking for. Well, first of all, if price breaks up above here where the sellers are holding it, you would be trading counter to the bigger money, which would immediately increase your risk. As far as looking at the downside right here, you'd be looking for, or I would be looking for, some kind of change in what we're seeing here. I'd probably tighten this up a little bit, move this one in position, and I would look for, this is getting to be a pretty small range, but I'd still look for a 5-minute candle close, but I would also keep in mind that they're going to be buy orders just below that in this area for machine traders and just, you know, longer term investors in general that think that this is the bottom. And so what you really need to do is get through here, right in there. Okay, so you want to, this would be your level, looking for a 5-minute close below 111.35. Let's see. And if you want to see that play out, let me just bounce back to the pound real quick and show you how that actually plays out. You can see here, I'm going to go ahead and go out to the 30 for just a moment. You can see here that I probably had this line down here on the candle bodies, and you can see that held there. And then when I drop down to the 5-minute, what I do is, let me zip this over, is I'll make adjustments. I'll move this, the top part of the rectangle up to where I think the most obvious area of closes are, and we got to come up just a tad more right there. And so what happens, it does show a little bit of a close above this now that I've you know, done this more zoomed in. Is that enough to take a trade? Probably. Showing a change. So what you're looking for is a change. This goes all the way back to you know, the previous day at 10:55, and so this is a change. This is the first time in, you know, not quite 24 hours that the buyers have had more power than the sellers over an incremental period. And so that causes a change there. If you wanted to wait for the second one, you still had plenty of room to get your stop under this level, say right here. And then if you went on that close, you still had 20 pips of room to get into a trade. So to give you an idea, if you got in right there, and let's say you were targeting 15, your stop could have been all the way down right in here. So that gives you an idea of what we're looking for. Now, what I'm showing you here looks, of course, very, very simple. But the thing is, you know, this is like, you know, learning to ride a bicycle. When you're first learning, you're thinking about balance and steering, and you're not running into things and certainly not falling over and hurting yourself. So there's a lot of different things that you're thinking about when you're learning to ride a bike versus, you know, later on when you don't think about it at all. And so, you know, even though I'm looking at 3 simple things on these trades, this is really, really advanced. But what I would encourage you to do is always be asking yourself, where are the orders likely to be? And these lines that I put in place are telling you where those orders are likely to be. There's likely to be orders right here. There's likely to be orders here. There's likely to be orders here at this ellipse. There's likely to be orders when this comes up here in this area, unless this is driving full steam, in which case there's, you know, if you saw a train coming, you'd be less likely to cross the train tracks right here. You know, it's just as simple as that. Simple psychology. Let's see, anything else? Not really. Not really this morning. That's about it. So look for the euro to move below here. The pound, you could actually look for another move above. In this case, it's making moves and not pulling back very much, at least the first time that it makes a move. So you might look for a close above this level. That's the 5 minute. Let me bring out the 30 minute real quick. Yeah, that doesn't really tell us much. So this is the right spot. Always go, not always, but 95% of the time you're going to go, your price point is going to be at the 5 minute candle close. So 4704. So it's looking like 4700 is a nice big round number. So that might, with this stalling here, that might cause these guys to pull back to about 50%. I'm looking for the next. You see this range here? Here's the move that starts it up again. And so that's where I'd put my fib and probably look at 50% as being an area where there will be orders. If it slips down here, you'll have orders here. And, orders all through here for buy orders. But it's looking like, and 38.2 as well. Well, that's all I see for now, guys. We're kind of in a little bit of the doldrums. Keep in mind that we've got about 4 weeks before we get to full-blown summer behavior. So we got about a month left. We kind of this month the banks were taking profits on their stock bubble. We should have one more good period before we head into basically summer doldrums. All right, you guys, have a great one. I plan to be back here tomorrow. That's Thursday morning. I'm not sure if I'll be here earlier or later, but I'll be here in the morning at some point. You can join the conversation on the video, follow me on Google Plus, or just my YouTube channel. Bye, everybody.